Hello. So I was on the train the other day and I got this. This is the Metro newspaper. It's a daily newspaper that's free, and they hand it out to you at train stations and people just read it when they're commuting home. It's pretty cool. I usually get one. The other day I sat down on my way home and I was reading it and I came across this headline: "The heroine who ended up a heroin mule." So the story follows an ex-army woman, a lady in the army for the UK, who has then, after finishing her service, agreed to take drugs into Amsterdam with her daughter in the car. Obviously a very sad story, very unusual story. She's ended up in jail. It's very sad that now her daughter is without a mother and she's also pregnant, so her second child will be born in jail, which is all very sad. The problem I had with the story though is the picture that went along with the top, which is that. And I was reading the story and I was looking up at the picture and I was just thinking, why has this picture been chosen? It talks a lot about how she was in the army, so you'd expect a photo of her in uniform. There is one of her holding her daughter, but it's very small. It's not the main picture of the article, and her army uniform is kind of hidden by her daughter. The front page also advertises the article saying skip to page 8, blah blah blah, and it's got a picture of her dressed up, maybe out on a Saturday night drinking, which is completely fine, and that's there. And I began to think, well, if this story was about a man who'd done exactly the same thing, then surely the front page picture would be of him, his official army photo maybe, or at least him in his uniform, and there would definitely not be a photo heading the article of him lying on his bed in his underwear. So, why? Why is it that the media absolutely continues, to show women in what is obviously meant to be a negative light, using photos which put emphasis on their bodies, I suppose? And I mean, the photo of her is fine for her to own if, you know, she wants it out there, but it is no way relevant to the story at all. And it really frustrated me. I was reading it and I was like, why? Excuse you, why have you used this? I'm actually just looking at it again, and it's completely ridiculous. And they've sourced the photo from Masons, which I imagine is some kind of internet source. The author of the article is Fred Atterwill, and I'm wondering why he thought that was an appropriate picture to have. It's completely ridiculous. You would never ever see a guy having a photo like that, and it's just continuing to sexualise women in the media. The thing that also frustrates me is the photo obviously talks about her in a negative light for what she did, which, I mean, I'm agreeing. Like, taking drugs into Amsterdam is bad anyway, and then having your daughter in the car is pretty ridiculous. But because the article was written in a negative light, and the photo goes along with it, I think it's trying to also enforce the idea that this lady might be easy. Which, why does the reader need to have that assumption? Why should the reader be exposed to this photo, which is obviously a personal photo? She's lying on a bed in her underwear. She did not ever want that published in a newspaper, which is given out free to probably over 3 million people in London on that day, which was Wednesday, January the 9th. Honestly, screw you, Metro. Absolutely, that's horrible. So on my train ride home, after I got absolutely disgusted with the Metro, I started to think about more times the media has, I suppose, portrayed men in a more positive light for something that doesn't really deserve it, and the times that they've shown females in a negative light when it hasn't been needed. And so I found this on Tumblr, and I didn't write it, but it's brilliant. So the examples are Ashton Kutcher cheated on his wife of 7 years and continued to be the star of a sitcom and had virtually no repercussions towards his career whatsoever. So he cheated, but nothing happened. Okay? Sean Penn abused his wife and went on to win an Academy Award and a Golden Globe. He also said people who called Hugo Chavez a dictator should be arrested. So again, abused and went on to win an award. Charlie Sheen hired numerous prostitutes, shot his fiancée, verbally threatened his second wife, and in the same year that his children were taken away from him, announced he was going on a nationwide tour which sold out within 18 minutes. This one really struck me because I remember back when that all happened and Charlie Sheen got exposed and then there was all the winning thing and blah blah blah. And I didn't hear about him shooting his fiancée. What I heard about him was this crazy drug addict who now has this whole new leash on life, and he's going off and he's doing a tour, and it was all very positive. But he shot someone he was meant to be in love with, and the media didn't report it. The example for females is Kristen Stewart cheated on her boyfriend and was ridiculed for 6 straight months and labelled a slut, whore, bitch, homewrecker by the general public, even after releasing a statement and apologising for her actions, and was forced to drop out of multiple projects. So we've got 3 men who do absolutely despicable things to the people they meant to love, and their career moves forward, aided, of course, by the media. And then we have 1 girl who cheats on someone she's meant to love and is forced to drop out of multiple projects. It has negative effects towards her career, and the public ridicule her. This is a trend, and this is a trend I think people only notice once you begin to start noticing it, but it happens in all newspapers and all magazines around the world, that men are, for some whatever reason, promoted higher than women, even if we're doing the exact same things, whether they be good or bad. How can there be an industry which is so powerful as the media still being able to control little things like that, which don't add up to little things at all? Because you take home a newspaper, you got free on the train, and you read out an article to your wife about a lady who made a mistake, a really bad mistake, but a mistake, where she took drugs into Amsterdam, and she's now put in prison, and she won't see her daughter for 4 years, and her next child will be born in prison. And on top of that is a picture of her in her underwear. And what does the person think? The person thinks, this lady isn't just a fool, but she's a slut as well. All because one newspaper put in one photo which shouldn't have been there. Sexualizing women. Absolutely. For all the wrong reasons. I've had it up to here with this shit. I'm so done fucking